So like this, you have to find the things. The next one is, which one of the following temples featured a stem tank with 108 miniature shrines carved between the steps? Carved between the steps. Okay, so that is something that is there, my dear friends. So carved between the steps, you have to find that. Now here, what you can understand is that which one of the following temples featured a step tank? Now step tank, what do you understand from step tank? Okay, that the step tank, it is associated with the Solanki architecture. Okay, Solanki architecture, that is they constructed the sun temple, okay, at Modhera sun temple, okay, and with 108 miniature shrines carved between the steps. Now stepped tank, and between the steps, you know that there were the miniatures that were generally carved at that point of time. Now when there were the miniatures carved at that point of time, so what do you understand there? Okay, what do you understand there? Okay, so from this it is clearly understandable the answer is what? The Modhera Sun Temple, because there is the step tank, and on that steps there is going to be the miniature shrines that are going to be there. Okay, now the next one, when we talk, which of the following temple plans are inspired by apicidal Chaitya halls? Gaja Prashta or the elephant back plan, circular Vimana, square Kota plan, rectangular Shala plan, or Vrityata plan? Select the correct. Now this is a very factual one. Okay, this is a very factual one, and means to increase the toughness of the paper. Okay, this particular thing has been added there to increase the toughness of the paper. However, I do not believe that such a thing could be asked by the examination. Why? Because it becomes very much tough here. All right, so that is going to be there. So what do you think is the answer here? What do you think is the answer here? What do you think is the answer here? So here what you can see is Gaja Prashta or the elephant back plan, circular Vimana, square Kota plan, rectangular Shala plan, or the Vrityata plan. Okay. So here apicidal Chaitya halls. Now see, when we talk about the Chaitya halls, okay, so the Chaityas, they are going to be the Buddhist prayer halls, whereas the one is going to be, means there were the various caves. Okay, there were two types of caves that are going to be there at the time period of Mauryan and the post Mauryan, and after that also there is going to be a lot of development that is going to happen. So that particular thing is going to be known as the Chaityas. Okay, now the prayer halls, the Buddhist prayer halls, they were known as the Chaityas. Now that Chaityas in the after the post-modern time period, they were constructed through various, plans. Means interior level they were decorated, and there were a lot of rock cut cave architecture that was done. Okay, so here that Chaitya, it was done on based on which plan? Okay, so what you do is, I would not discuss this. The reason is that it is very much technical and it could not be done just in 1 minute. Okay, so you can read on each of these plans. I would recommend that you read on each of these plans what is there. The next one is, consider the following statements here. Okay, so the Nataraja bronze shows Shiva balancing on his left leg. The Apsara demon represents the ignorance, and the Bhujanga Trasita stance symbolizes the removal of illusion. Which one of the following statements given above is going to be correct? So, what do you think is the answer here? Okay, what do you think is the answer here? Now, see, if you might have seen, okay, if you might have seen the particular, the Nataraja statue, okay, the Nataraja sculpture. You might have seen that in the Nataraja sculpture, which was initiated during the time period of the Chalukyas, and the earliest evidence that we are going to find is going to be in the Ravanpadi caves, okay, of the Chalukyas. So after that, the Cholas had taken it at to the supremest level. So if you can see the, you know, this particular what do you say, if you can see this particular sculpture, you are going to understand that each of the particular posture is going to signify something. So it the Shiva here, he is not on his left, he is not on his left leg, but is standing on his right leg, and that right leg is above a dwarf, and that dwarf, it is going to mean the ignorance and everything. So the first statement is going to be wrong. So if we just remove first, we know that which one is correct, 2 and 3. So the Apasmara demon represents ignorance. Yes, so that was the, you know, so dwarf which on which he is going to be standing, and the Bhujangatrita stance, it symbolizes the removal of illusion, that is there. So the answer here, it is going to be B, 2 and 3. This was a basic, this was a very basic, and this was a very simple type of question that was there at that point of time. All right.